Rise and shine. Bitch, get up, get up, get up, get up. Bitch, rise and shine, bitch. Yes. You know, didn't y'all listen? First of all, rise and shine. Wait, I'm working on my own rise and shine. Whatever. Welcome to an all-new episode of A Seat at the Table podcast. Burr, burr, burr. I feel like air horns are very necessary this week because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel buoyant. Yes, I do. I feel light, you know? I feel light. I feel like floating a little. I don't know what that is, but yes, I feel very light this week. I felt Kylie's Rise and Shine. If you're not familiar with the epic new single with just 2 words, 3 words actually. Well, I guess 2.5 words. Rise and shine. That is the way that Kylie wakes up Stormy, and I just said to myself, bitch, are we about to get an album? Are we about to get a Kylie album? Nothing would tickle my pickle more than a Kylie Jenner album. Hello, even more so. Can you imagine her doing like her and a Travis Scott album? Like, oh, okay. I can't even. You can find us, yes, us, because this is a group effort, and I just want to apologize in advance for this week's extra long episode. Listen, I have been trying to pare it back. You know what I mean? I've been trying to dial it back, just give you a solid 45 minutes, maybe 48. But y'all, there's a lot to get into this week, and your girl's not holding back, so you can find us on Instagram, A Seat at the Table Pod, all one word. You can find me on Instagram, come and knock on my door. It's private, but you can find me, ZAYICKA79 on Instagram as well. Perhaps I'm a little bit more active there than other places. You can also find us on Twitter at Galanda Adams. Yes, that is GAILAND. I can't do this. Every week we go through this where I don't know how to spell that shit. Okay. And honestly, you guys roll your eyes at me and you send in your hate mail about it. Oh, you really need to learn how to spell it because it don't sound nice. It's no professional when you not know how to spell it. Okay. You can find us on Twitter at GAILONDAADAMS. That's at Galanda Adams. Okay. So part of the reason I think that I'm feeling so, easy, I think, is because, number one, I went to church this morning. Yes. Shout out to Jesus. What's up? I went to church this morning, and normally, listen, I'm not one of those people who believes that, the vastness of God can only be experienced in a church house. I am a Christian, so I do acknowledge the importance of the church, not only in an individual Christian walk, but also in the community that the church serves. Not just the community, meaning their congregation, but the community in which the church even exists. To me, especially if you are Black, it doesn't matter what denomination even, but especially if you are, of the African diaspora, what I will say is that the church tends to have a bigger significant meaning, more than just an individual church walk, but, just in terms of the community that the church even exists in. So, I went to church this morning, and it was a really great sermon. I go to an early sermon, so 7:45 is normally the time that I head in, and Or, well, that's a reach because I'm always late, but 8:30, pray for me. I'm trying to get better. And so the service was about being better together and how, we live in this kind of world where, the individual is praised. However, the group dynamic is where people kind of come together and really kind of can learn that much more about themselves, what have you, blah, da, 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 da. Anyways, so there's that. And then I think that there's also like, I always come to you guys and talk about just even breathing, and we talk about mindfulness and just trying to be, what I hope to impart from this show is always that even through the crazy that happens in celebrity culture and even in the current happenings of political culture and even in my own crazy personal life, that we take a lesson from all of those things, so I never try to just like drag a celebrity or talk about a story that they may be involved in with the hopes that you don't get anything out of it. Because even in the macro of what's happening in their world, even when you drill it down, isn't it all of us, So, yeah. So with that being said, I really talk about mindfulness a lot. And one of the things that I talk about is just meditating and how I've been trying to take just a few moments in the morning before I start my day, before I even look at my clock, before I, turn on the lights. I will lay there and just meditate on and set intention for what I want my day to be like and what I want my energy to be, even in terms of the people who come across me that day. What is the energy that I would want to impart on them? So I try to, set an intention for my day, and that's really been helping me. I know a lot of people get into, probably anxiety mode when you think about meditation and what it means to meditate. No, I don't have that kind of time. And I don't know stillness like that. And yes, stillness is a real foundation for meditation. However, one deep conscious breath is a meditation, right? So just filling up, just breathing like that. You could feel like your stomach drawing into your rib cage, just breathing in like that and just being conscious of it and feeling. And when you exhalate, just, really letting everything go. That is a meditation. So glad I was able to share that with you. Not much else going on with me though. Just feeling light out here, I'm still a mess. So, okay. I think that one of the telltale signs that you have really learned your lesson in a situation is when you do not go back to repeat it. So, for example, I spent 8 years, literally 8 years of my entire black ass life, literally trying to change one person and going back repeatedly. We would have these moments where, and this was a romantic relationship, but we would have these moments where, it was a cycle. Every time was a cycle, and every cycle looked the same. So, and whether this is a romantic relationship, for some of you, it's a friendship, platonic relationship. It is something familial where, maybe you and your mom or whatever, you guys have like a sweet spot that you get into. Right? So that's the cycle. You get there, there's the sweet spot, and then next thing you know, someone's ego gets a little bit rubbed, but you move past it. And then you keep going. And then next thing you know, the whole thing is up in smoke like the Fire Festival. Right? Then you guys swear that you're never going to fuck with each other again, blah, da, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then some time passes by and you swear them off like bacon. And then next thing you know, there you are right back into the sweet spot with that person. Everybody has one. This was my 8-year romantic relationship with one person. I knew I had, okay. It's almost like, oh my God. Okay. Have you ever had a piece of delicious food in front of you and you knew that you were consuming so much that you were disgusted with yourself, so you did something to harm the food? Like, if it was cake, like pour ketchup on it, or like, a good sandwich, pour water on it or something like that. Or like some French fries, you might like just pour a bunch of water on it or something crazy. And then even though you knew you just did that, part of you was like, bitch, if you just brush that shit off, you could still eat it. Yeah, that's what it's like. So listen, I say all that to say that this week I saw that scab. I saw my scab, and I toyed with the idea of revisiting, and because God is gracious, he gives us what we want. Because he is merciful, sometimes he does not give us what we want, And so I say all that to say that, some time had elapsed, and I was like, you know what? It's a good thing that, like, even though I saw this person and, part of me was like, girl, like, I don't know, the fruit of my looms were very ripe. You know what I mean? And I think you do. But at the same time, some time had elapsed, and it was good that the time had elapsed, because honestly, I remembered in that moment why I didn't need to mess with that person anymore. And I'm telling you guys this story in hopes that you know that, like, if there is a cycle that you visit with someone, and you guys go through this cycle all the time, and, one moment you guys are good with each other and everything is great, and then you guys have your blow up, and then you guys separate, and you guys stop talking, and then next thing you know, you guys are back at it again, and you guys love each other, and blah, 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 blah. If you experience that with anyone, I'm going to tell you, it's toxic. I don't have to tell you that. But I think beyond it being toxic is the idea that you don't know that you've truly learned your lesson until you get off the ride. You've got to get off the ride. And that means that you have to stop picking at the scab and hoping that something else will happen. You just have to. You poured water on the French fries already. Let them be. Don't try to eat them anymore, okay? Like, you know that you know that you know that you know, and you know. So don't have any more. Speaking of not having any more, you guys apparently aren't having any more of Little Kim the Queen Bee. You guys are horrible people. I just want to tell you guys that in the first place. Little Kim's album 9 was projected to sell less than 1,000 copies the first week out. You guys are disgusting. None of you guys could go on iTunes and buy a Little Kim album. None of you. You guys are terrible people, and that's all I have to say about that. None of you could go and support Little Kim the Queen Bee. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting, and y'all ought be ashamed of y'allself. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. You guys, I might be tripping, but hear me out. So I'm driving through Westchester. Okay, I live in the Bronx, so I'm driving through Westchester suburbs, and I realized that I'm by a high school, and I realized that the speed limit is 15 miles an hour. So then I come back to the Bronx. I'm driving through. There's a school, elementary school, not even high school, elementary school. And I see that the speeding limit is 25 miles an hour. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, that's total bullshit. Are their kids worth more than our kids? I implore you guys, as you're listening to this, don't be one of those assholes that like drives through the neighborhoods all crazy. These are our kids. This is our community. So just be cognizant of that. Some other news that I want to share with you guys is, so apparently the Black teenage suicide rate has vastly jumped in America. According to the data, suicide attempt rate for Black teens rose 73% over a